The envelope arrived quietly. No fanfare, no press release. Just a private letter from a Labour MP to Andy Burnham, Mayor of Greater Manchester. We need you. The party needs you. The country needs you. Challenge him. Burnham read it. Then another arrived. Then another. By December 2024, dozens of Labour MPs were writing the same message. Some privately, some through intermediaries, all saying the same thing. Keir Starmer has to go, and you're the one to replace him. The plot wasn't a secret anymore. It was an open conspiracy happening in plain sight, and Andy Burnham was at the center of it all. Andy Burnham isn't just another Labour politician. He's the success story Starmer's government desperately lacks. As mayor of Manchester since 2017, he's delivered. B Network buses, publicly owned, popular, successful. Standing up to the Tories during COVID over funding, principled, defiant, memorable. Approval ratings in the 60s while Starmer crashes at 13%. He's authentic where Starmer seems rehearsed. Working class roots where Starmer feels elite. Passionate where Starmer seems robotic. And most importantly, he wins elections while Starmer loses voters. The polling tells the story. When voters are asked who would make the best prime minister, Burnham beats Starmer. He even beats Nigel Farage. The public is ready for him. The question is he ready for them? Here's the problem. Andy Burnham isn't an MP. He's a mayor, and you can't be prime minister without sitting in parliament. So throughout late 2024, the hunt began. Quietly, carefully. Burnham needed a parliamentary seat, and fast. The whispers in Westminster said he'd found one. Nailed on, sources claimed. A Labour-safe constituency where an MP was planning to step down in the coming months. The timing would be perfect. By-election in early 2025. Burnham wins easily, enters Parliament just as Starmer's crisis deepens. Which seat? Nobody's confirming publicly. But the speculation is rampant. Lee, Bolton, somewhere in the northwest where Burnham's popularity is strongest. The secrecy only adds to the intrigue because everyone knows what it means. Once Burnham has a seat, the leadership challenge becomes inevitable. Behind closed doors, the plotting intensified. Anti-Starmer MPs, and there were many, began coordinating. Not openly, not publicly, but in quiet conversations in Westminster bars, in encrypted messages, in chance meetings that were anything but chance. The calculation was simple. To trigger a Labour leadership election, you need 20% of Labour MPs to demand it. That's roughly 80 signatures out of 400 plus Labour MPs. Can Burnham get 80 MPs? The math is brutal but possible. Start with the Socialist Campaign Group, the hard left faction that never liked Starmer anyway. About 30 to 35 MPs there. Then add the disappointed Corbynites, who held their noses and voted for Starmer but regret it now. Then the moderates, who back Starmer but are horrified by his incompetence. Then the ambitious ones, who see a sinking ship and want lifeboats. Suddenly 80 doesn't seem impossible, it seems inevitable. But here's where it gets interesting. The secret deal. The Socialist Campaign Group doesn't like Andy Burnham. He's too centrist for them, too willing to compromise, too new Labour in their eyes. But they hate Keir Starmer more, and they're pragmatic enough to make a deal. The rumored terms, cabinet positions, policy commitments, a seat at the table. In exchange, the Socialist Campaign Group would provide the crucial votes needed to trigger the leadership challenge, and then support Burnham over Starmer in the actual contest. It's a Faustian bargain. Burnham gets power. The hard left gets influence. Starmer gets destroyed. Would Burnham actually make this deal? Publicly, he says nothing. I'm focused on Manchester, he repeats endlessly. I'm not seeking a return to Parliament. But privately, sources say conversations are happening. Feelers are being extended. Terms are being discussed. Because everyone knows the truth. If the call came, Burnham wouldn't turn it down. He said as much. I'm not going to turn away if the party needs him. The pieces are moving into place. The question is when, not if. But Burnham isn't the only one circling Starmer's wounded government. Look at Wes Streeting, the health secretary, young and ambitious, constantly in the media, positioning himself as the sensible modernizer. Angela Rayner. Oh, wait, she resigned in September 2025 over a tax scandal. The deputy prime minister, Starmer's supposed right hand, gone. But before she left, she was barely speaking to the PM. The relationship had completely broken down. Ed Miliband? Yes, the former Labor leader is back in cabinet as energy secretary. Does anyone think he's given up on leadership dreams? Rachel Reeves, chancellor, delivered a disastrous budget but still has ambitions, though her stock is falling faster than the pound after her budget leaks. Shabana Mahmood, the Home Secretary, who openly admitted everyone has thought about the top job, not even pretending to be loyal anymore. This isn't a cabinet. It's a collection of rival leadership campaigns waiting for the starting gun to fire. And Andy Burnham is watching all of them, knowing he polls better than every single one. Let's talk about what's really driving this. Keir Starmer is the most unpopular prime minister in recorded British history. 13% approval rating. Let that sink in. 13%. 79% of the country is dissatisfied with him. These aren't just bad numbers, they're catastrophic. But here's what's even worse for Labour. The party itself is hemorrhaging support. Polling shows Labour in the low 20s. Reform UK, Nigel Farage's party, is 10 points ahead in some polls. The Conservatives are recovering. Even the Lib Dems are gaining ground. And the membership? 100,000 Labour members have quit since the election. 100,000. Reform UK now has more members than Labour. The grassroots are abandoning ship. Local elections in May 2025 are approaching. Everyone in Labour knows what's coming. A wipeout. Councils falling like dominoes, councillors losing seats, the media declaring Starmer's government dead in the water. That's the trigger point. That's when the knives come out fully. And Andy Burnham is positioning himself to be the solution everyone turns to. Here's Burnham's advantage. He's not tainted by Starmer's failures. While the government in Westminster collapses, Manchester thrives. The B network is expanding. Investment is flowing. Burnham's approval ratings remain strong. He can stand in front of cameras and say honestly, I'm delivering for my city while Westminster fails the country. It's the perfect contrast. Starmer, the incompetent national leader. Burnham, the competent local leader who could go national. The narrative writes itself. And Burnham's team knows it. They're not rushing. They're letting Starmer destroy himself. Every policy failure, every cabinet resignation, every poll showing record unpopularity, it all makes Burnham look better by comparison. Patience isn't just a virtue here. It's a strategy. But here's what makes this story truly fascinating. Where is Rishi Sunak in all of this? The man who spent months destroying Starmer in Parliament. The man who proved he was right about taxes, immigration, the economy, everything. The man positioning himself for a 2029 comeback. He's completely silent. Sunak left his position as opposition leader in November 2024. Kemi Badenoch took over. He returned to Goldman Sachs. And since then, nothing. No interviews about Starmer's collapse. No I told you so speeches. No commentary on the chaos. Why? Theory 1, he's done. Revenge was sweet, but he's moved on. Goldman Sachs pays better than politics anyway. Theory 2, he's playing the long game. Let Labour destroy itself completely. Let Burnham take over, then return in 2029 as the experienced hand versus whoever's leading Labour by then. Theory 3, he's watching with satisfaction. This is better than anything he could say. Starmer's failure speaks louder than Sunak ever could. Theory 4, he knows something we don't. Maybe there's a backroom understanding. Let Labour have their civil war, Conservatives stay out of it, return to power by default. Whatever the reason, Sunak's silence is deafening and strategic. Inside Labour, MPs are terrified. They see the polls. They know May 2025 is coming. They can feel their seats slipping away. Some represent constituencies where Reform UK is surging. Others face resurgent Conservatives. A few are worried about the Lib Dems, but nobody can say it out loud. Criticize Starmer publicly. You're disloyal, you're undermining the party, you're helping the opposition. So it happens in whispers, in private meetings and carefully worded interviews where MPs express concerns and hope for course corrections without directly attacking the leader. This is how leadership challenges start, not with open rebellion, but with creeping paralysis. When MPs stop defending the leader, when they respond to attacks with silence, when they're asked, do you support the Prime Minister? And they pause just a second too long before saying yes. That's where Labour is now. The climate of fear isn't fear of Starmer. It's fear of being associated with him when he falls. And Andy Burnham represents the escape hatch. So when does Burnham strike? Not yet. Too early. Starmer technically just started. Overthrowing a PM who won a landslide just months ago looks impulsive, disloyal, chaotic. But after May 2025, after Labor loses hundreds of council seats, after the local election catastrophe that everyone knows is coming, that's different. That's not a coup. That's responding to democratic reality. The timeline probably looks like this. January to April 2025. Burnham secures parliamentary seat, wins by election, May 2025. Local elections disaster, panic in labor ranks, June 2025. Quiet conversations become open calls for change, July 2025. Someone triggers the formal leadership challenge, August 2025. Leadership contest, Burnham announces candidacy, September 2025. Burnham wins, becomes Labor leader and PM. That's the plan. That's the plot. And right now, it's on track. But Burnham won't have a clear path. Wes Streeting is younger, media savvy, and appeals to Labor moderates who think Burnham is too northern, too old-fashioned. The Socialist Campaign Group might back Burnham to remove Starmer, but then put forward their own candidate in the actual leadership race. Someone like Zara Sultana or Clive Lewis, a true hard-left option. Ed Miliband has name recognition and experience. He's already been leader once. Could he argue he deserves another chance now that the party understands what it lost? And there's always the possibility of a unity candidate. Someone who isn't clearly left or right, who promises to heal divisions rather than take sides. Burnham's team knows this. The 80 signatures to trigger the challenge, that's the easy part. Actually winning the leadership race, that's harder. You need to win both the MP vote and the member vote. But here's Burnham's ace. He polls better than all of them with the public. And in a party desperate to win back voters, that's a powerful argument. I can beat reform. I can beat the Tories. I can save your seats. Can any of the others say that? Starmer knows what's happening. He's not stupid. He sees the polls. He reads the articles. He hears the whispers. He knows Burnham is being positioned as the alternative. So what can he do? Option 1, bring Burnham into the tent. Offer him a major cabinet role. Neutralize him by making him complicit in the government's decisions. Problem, Burnham would refuse. Taking a cabinet post now means owning Starmer's failures. Better to stay in Manchester, stay clean, and strike when the time is right. Option 2, attack Burnham preemptively. Question his record, his ambitions, his loyalty. Problem, that makes Starmer look weak and paranoid. You don't attack threats you're confident you can handle. Option 3, deliver results. Turn the government around, win back voters, make the leadership challenge impossible. Problem, there's no sign that's happening. Every week brings new disasters, new scandals, new reasons for voters to reject Labor. Starmer is trapped, and Burnham is patient. Here's the thing that should terrify Starmer most. 100,000 members leaving isn't just about numbers. These are the activists who knock on doors, the volunteers who man phone banks, the small donors who fund local campaigns, the grassroots energy that wins elections. Where are they going? Some to Reform UK, some to the Greens, some just giving up on politics entirely. But many of them would come back for Andy Burnham because he represents something Starmer doesn't. Authenticity, passion, connection to Labor's traditional base. If Burnham runs for leader, those members could flood back. The campaign could feel like a movement, not just a leadership contest. That's dangerous for the established order. That's how outsiders win. That's how Jeremy Corbyn won in 2015, riding a wave of member enthusiasm that overwhelmed the MP's preference. Burnham wouldn't be as radical as Corbyn, but the dynamic could be similar. Grassroots versus establishment, authenticity versus calculation. And right now, authenticity is winning. So here's what everyone in Westminster is asking. Is Andy Burnham actually plotting this, or is it just wishful thinking from desperate MPs? The truth? Probably both. Burnham is too smart to openly conspire against his own party's leader. That would destroy his reputation for loyalty and principle. He needs to appear reluctant, dragged into leadership by circumstance rather than ambition. But is he taking meetings? Is he listening to pitches? Is he positioning himself carefully so that when the moment comes, he's ready? Of course he is. You don't turn down 80 MPs asking you to save the party. You don't ignore polling, showing you be more popular than the current leader. You don't waste a once-in-a-generation opportunity. Burnham's public line will remain, I'm focused on Manchester. But his private actions will tell a different story. The seat hunt, the conversations, the careful media appearances where he offers constructive criticism of the government, the polling that his team definitely commissioned to see if he's viable. This is happening. The only question is timing. Everything points to May 2025 as the trigger. Local elections across England, Labour defending councils they won when Corbyn was still popular, when Brexit anger favored them, when the Tories were in chaos. Now, Labour is in chaos. Reform is surging. The Conservatives are recovering. The conditions couldn't be worse. Projections suggest Labour could lose control of dozens of councils. Some estimates say hundreds of council seats could flip. It would be a bloodbath. And the morning after those results, when MPs are panicking about their own seats, when the media is declaring Starmer finished, that's when the letters start circulating. Dear colleague, we believe it's time for the party to have a conversation about leadership. That's when Burnham's team makes their move. Not before, not as aggressors, but as rescuers responding to a crisis. The party has spoken through the ballot box. We need change. Reluctantly, I must answer the call. Perfect positioning, perfect timing, perfect execution. If it works. But let's not forget, while Labour tears itself apart, Rishi Sunak is waiting. He proved Starmer was wrong about everything. He destroyed his credibility in Parliament, and now he's watching as the government collapses exactly as he predicted. Does Sunak want Burnham to succeed? Probably not. A competent Labour leader is a bigger threat than Starmer ever was. But does Sunak benefit from Labour chaos? Absolutely. Every week of internal warfare is a week. Labour isn't attacking Conservatives. Every leadership crisis is a distraction from developing actual policies. So Sunak stays quiet. Lets them fight. Lets Burnham and Starmer and Streeting and whoever else wants to lead Labour destroy each other. And then in 2029, when the dust settles, when Labour has burned through 2 or 3 leaders, when voters are exhausted by the chaos, Rishi Sunak returns. I told you so. Now let's fix this properly. That's the long game. And Sunak is nothing if not patient. As December 2024 turns to January 2025, the pieces are all in position. Starmer, weakest PM in history, no path to recovery. Burnham, strong approval ratings, parliamentary seats secured, MPs writing letters, Socialist Campaign Group ready to make a deal. May 2025 elections. The trigger point approaching, 100,000 ex-members waiting for someone to believe in again. Sunak, silent watching, waiting for 2029. All that's missing is the spark. The moment when someone finally stands up in public and says what everyone's thinking privately. Keir Starmer has failed. We need Andy Burnham. It's coming. The only question is who strikes first. Because in politics, timing is everything. Move too early, you're disloyal. Move too late, someone else gets there first. Andy Burnham is threading that needle perfectly. Positioned, but not pushing. Ready, but not rushing. Available, but not asking. And when May 2025 delivers the disaster everyone expects, when 80 MPs sign the letter, when the leadership contest begins, he'll act surprised, reluctant, duty-bound. If the party needs me, I cannot turn away. The plot is in motion. The conspiracy is real. The question isn't whether Andy Burnham will challenge Keir Starmer. The question is whether Starmer will still be leader when Burnham is ready to strike. Tick-tock.